Alright, so as you can tell, I'm working on making a mess here in the shop. Just a real quick project before I pulled this vise off of here. I had to machine some soft jaws. What I wanted to do was machine a few pockets in the outside of this drive wheel for the Wilmot grinder. And what that's going to net me is I've got some small neobendium magnets. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Rare earth magnets. And they are going to mount in the Wilmot disc on the face here. And then also they're going to mount here on the face of the drive wheel. Then I'll have a keyed shaft that'll go through both of them. You can drop it on, the magnet will hold it down. So just running through that before I pulled this vise off of here and put it back on the Bridgeport, and then start running frames, and then I'll use the soft jaws to machine the backspacers to proper thickness and then clean this disaster. So let me do this and I'll get back to you. Just thought you guys might think this looked cool. It's kind of neat, the contrast with the fresh aluminum and the anodizing. This is just running the pockets for the magnets. I'll epoxy them in. So I've got 8 of them. Should be plenty. Hold it down. And it's all precision located in the center of that, so it should still be balanced. Now I just got to machine the center of the drive wheel for the Wilmot so you don't have to modify the disc. Okay, so I will admit that CNC has made my life much easier. So this is your typical Wilmot disc. Well made, nice and balanced, all that. The only thing I don't like is that they taper this finish. I'm not sure why they do this, but from it like bows out here and then it actually thins to the end. I'm not sure exactly why they do that, but honestly it's not that big a deal. I would have just preferred it flat with just a chamfer at the end. So what I did to mount this to the horizontal grinder, I cut a little 1/2-inch shaft out of some stainless round stock that I had sitting here, machined a keyway into it, as you can see, a little 3/16 keyway, and then set screwed it in so it goes through and just sits below flush on the other side of the disc. And then, I love CNC. I came in here, pocketed a 1/4 inch because this boss is actually too far to sit down into that. There, let me adjust the camera. Sorry. It's wigging out on me. Well, maybe I won't be able to. At any rate. So now I have a keyed setup here. Spin it around until it finds its home. Sorry, a little bit of a pain to get this while I'm holding the camera at the same time. There it goes. And voila. Now, as you can see, it sits flush on the outside of the wheel. So now, I'm going to yank the vise off, pull this back off, and machine the little magnet pockets on the backside of this thing, and we're good to go. So it can't spin because it's on a keyed shaft, and it's held down by magnets. So, pretty cool. Magnets, how do they work? Well, wham bam, thank you ma'am. I got her on there. So, machined 8 little neobendium magnets. Next time, well, if there ever is a next time, I'll probably do 10, or maybe just do a little bigger magnets. These ones are just under a 1/4 inch. I don't remember, 7mm or something like that. I don't, metric. I suck at metric. So I just did matching. I located them to the keyway, matched them on the drive wheel. Show that to you. Set this down. So, worked real good. Still balanced. Let me wait for the truck to drive by and I'll turn it on. Still nice and balanced. Now, set the tripod back up. Maybe. Time for a new tripod. This one's starting to fall apart. Lost a screw on it the other day. Alright, so all I gotta do is line up the keyway to the keyway here. Push it down. and turn around. Works pretty good, nice and balanced. Let me grab something to disc sand real quick and I'll show you. Alright, bear with me. My tripod decided to take a dump on me, so if the camera goes blop all the way to the bottom, you know why. Time to go buy a new one. So just backspacer. I'm going to machine off the excess here. That's why I made the, come on, focus, the soft jaws for the vise the other day. But I got to disc sand the burr off of here. I was using kind of a dull tool, so I'll show you how the disc sander works. Voila! Now I have a 2-in-1 tool. And the plus side of this is that I can get this thing off the floor where it does not belong and get rid of said disc sanding station over here. I've got to relocate my bandsaw. Not that I use it a ton, and my little sharpening setup, but I'm going to reallocate the use of this table for the horizontal grinder, so that will be nice. So I'll get rid of that 1.5 horse motor or whatever it is sitting in there. Repurpose it for some other contraption I'm sure that I'll come up with here in the next year. And yeah, so that'll be nice. That'll clear up some floor space, and I can go, sorry, tripod. It's kind of annoying, isn't it? Clear up this space here, clean it, get my torch and the welder out of the way. I don't know, maybe I'll have room for a lathe. Alright guys, I'll come back to you when I get some more done. Alright, well, I know it's pretty sad that I get excited about this. That's kind of weird. Just got a new tripod. The other one died, as you can tell from just a couple of seconds ago when you guys were watching the video. This thing is a cheap piece of crap. It's like 15-20 bucks at Walmart. It's just garbage. But you know what's funny is that I go in there the other day and they had this on the clearance rack. This is pretty decent. I mean, it's not probably the nicest thing in the world, but for $10. So, nice. It's a little taller, which is nice. Got a couple levels, not that I need that because my camera prowess. I swear I have to work on my camera skills. I suck. Sorry guys. Battery just died right in the middle of that. So, yeah, pretty nice. Check your Walmart if you need a tripod. It's a Sunpack 5200D. I don't know. I don't know if that's good or not. Kind of interesting. Well, that was my exciting thing for the morning. I'll get back to you when I get some more crap done around here. Got some carbon fiber epoxy to the table. Got to run a couple of quick bolsters for a repair job. And super excited about the disc sander. You were awesome, Chris at Wilmot Grinders. Buy one if you need a grinder. It's easier than building one. I just don't have time. Alright guys, I'll get right back to you. Well, you know, one of these days I might get organized. I got the blades back from Heat Treat. All these guys, these ones are 4V, S35 if you couldn't tell. Just got done surface grinding these guys. Ooh, shiny. So, they are on to grinding bevels. And then fitting to handles. Got a set of handles running right now. Well, I got 21 handles running right now. Not that you can see anything. Let me see if I can blow it off so you can see it. This is the front side. So fullers, lock side, non-lock side, all that fun stuff. Just cutting screw pockets right now for the heads of the screws. I got all these plates drilled, ready to bolt on. 8 of them. It's like, I don't know, 70 pounds, 80 pounds of titanium. It's expensive. So, you know, all the years that I've been doing machining and work, I just bought one of these dang things. It's so much better than an X-Acto knife. So, it's like a little deburring tool. This little thing swivels around and you just run it down inside of a hole and circle it around and it kind of deburrs the edge. Actually works really well. Kind of nifty. Wear the blades out fairly quick with kind of any kind of high production, but Maybe I'll find some carbide ones or something. But I think this thing was like $5, so kind of neat. I got a couple extra blades from the last batch. Here's a 3V, or both of them are 3V. This one is almost done. I don't remember what I did to it. I think I cut the lock too far. So I threw it in the drawer figuring I could fit it to another frame. This one was just an extra that I never even finished. So I'll throw this in the batch because I think I have 65 blades total. I have 62 sets of frames or so, I think, now that I've got a couple of scrap ones. Hopefully I can do a few more than that. What else do I got? Lots of backspacers. I had a crap ton of backspacers. They're all just about done now. I left the flashing on the outside just because I'm going to profile these to each frame individually. So, but I cleaned the inside off, deburred the holes, flattened them, and machined them to thickness. So all those are good. I think there's 100 of those. What else is going on? More blades back here. And a disaster on my bench as usual. Not much going on here. I'll get back with you guys once this plate's finished. I ended up scrapping almost half a row on both sides because Sprut Cam, which is my machining program, sucks. Creates all kinds of awesome tool paths that it's not supposed to create, that creates me more work in the end, like divots, like that, for no reason. Just randomly creates tool paths. I really dislike that program, but alas, all the rest of them are super expensive. Not that that one was, Sprut Cam was cheap, it was like $2 grand, but sure doesn't do a very good job, and I'm kind of getting tired of it, so I'm figuring I might switch over to something else. I don't know. Gotta find something out. Well, I'll get back to you in a few minutes. Well, guess I gotta keep you guys informed on what's going on. Right now I'm just procrastinating. I gotta grind the bevels on all these folders. There's 65, 66 blades here. Got a couple extra just in case I mess one up. So I'm kind of procrastinating doing that because that's a lot of freaking blades. But what I am doing currently is polishing pivot holes. When they come back from heat treat. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let's see. There you go. It leaves a little bit of kind of, I guess, heat treat scale on there. It's a little dull. So what I do is I just take a carbide chamfer bit and chamfer the edges, and then I run this lapping tool. It's basically, I can get it to focus. It's just an expandable brass insert on a little screw here, and you just tighten that up just a touch, not enough to really remove any material, and then I've got some awesome homemade rubbing compound that I get everywhere. Lube it up and stick it in the hole. You can hear it kind of slow down. Run it through both sides just to get the lapping compound in there, and then I run it through 5 or 6 times. So let me do that real quick and I'll show you what the hole looks like. Hopefully my battery doesn't die. It seems like it wants to. Alright, now that I got that done, let me wipe it off and I'll show you just a sec. Alright, so got that. Sorry, I had to swap out the battery. The batteries in this camera does not last long when it's cold outside. But now, maybe if I can get it to focus. Still got a little bit of the rubbing compound in there, but as you can see, it's a bit more polished up. Just lessens the amount of break-in time that you have to do. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see it's polished there. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'll be doing that for the next few hours. 65 knives, takes a few minutes. Got another plate done. Just haven't had a chance to chip them out of here. It's all turned out pretty good. I was having some problems with my Tormach, and I scrapped another one, but I think it was this plate. Let me see. Where is it? I think it was... So I machine them like this. Yep, right here. As you can see. Let me see if I can get in there so you can see it. Right here and right here. Scrapped 2 of these frames. It sucks, but I was having a problem with my Z-axis. Not 100% certain what happened. Mach 3 started tweaking out and it was losing Z steps. So I went through, restored the entire machine control today, readjusted the gibs, oiled the crap out of everything, checked my couplers for the stepper motor up there, and got it all squared back together, and I'm running a plate. So seems like it's pretty good. It's nice. Tormach's always been pretty good to me. If I call them, they usually have answers for me. So I just did a restore, and so far so good. I cut air for about 25-30 minutes just doing a simple drilling operation to see if it would lose Z steps again, and it hasn't done anything yet. So with any luck, that will take care of it. More than likely it was just a problem with Mach 3. But yeah, let's see. Let me show you frames. I don't know if I showed you these guys yet. These are just chipped out of, if I can get them out of there, just chipped them out of the perimeter. Not much waste there, but they turned out pretty good. Let's see, I ran them through real quick and I tapped all the holes on the tapping head because I broke the tapping arm on my tapper, so I gotta fix that. So I had to tap these with the drill press tapper. These turned out pretty good. I've done a couple of new things, like I chamfered the insides of all these holes, so that saves me some time. And then I also have been machining all my plates flat before I start doing anything on the mill, so it perfectly basically trams the plate to the mill itself, just in case there's any little tiny bit of tram out. So it worked out well. 10 inches by 18 inch plate of titanium, and my variance on these pockets is 8/10 of a thou all the way across the whole plate. So less than a thou all the way across, which is pretty good for Tormach. I wasn't expecting that kind of accuracy. So that worked out really well. So all these bearing pockets are nice. I don't have to do anything to them. These are lock sides. So you can see the new lock insert setup I'm doing. I'm actually screwed in from the outside so you can tighten it if you ever need to and access it. I'm actually, on the next batch of knives, going to change this yet again. I'll be doing, I think I'm doing A15s or A10s next. A10s. I'm going to change this lock insert. It'll actually be titanium all the way to the outside, but I'm going to machine in, starting with this pocket here, all the way to the lock face, 1/8 of an inch, or probably 100,000ths of an inch from a piece of good hardenable stainless steel, and the insert will drop in here, and it'll be a long flat piece with a little nub for the over travel prevention, and it'll be all titanium all the way up front, and then there'll be a couple of screws, and that insert will actually be adjustable, so it'll be slotted, so you'll be able to move that insert a couple thou in either direction to be able to set the locker exactly where you want it. So I am finished designing that. I just got to run the A15s after I get all these 65 Hoebacks done. So yeah, turning out pretty good. Other than that, not much going on. I got to run, let's see, that's I don't know, all that titanium there. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 more plates, 5 more plates, including the one that's on the mill currently. So that's 22 hours a piece of machine time. So that's quite a bit of time. So I'm going to get to grinding these blades and try to get these done before all the frames are done, and then we'll be good to go. I do have one frame that I mocked up. I still got it sitting here. I just threw it together real fast, but I figure I should show you guys. Mind the washers and everything, I still haven't set my pivots up so they're offset a little. But it turned out pretty good. See if I can get it to focus. There we go. Lock inserts fit much better in these ones. And this thing is buttery smooth. And there is zero play side to side on that. It's just no lock pressure either, so that helps. But if you just put a little bit of pressure on there, you can flicks out real nice. Got to cut the lock on them still, obviously. Focus. Come on. It would help if I didn't have Tourette's with the camera. There we go. Doesn't like the lighting over here. So yeah, just got to dissand them, deburr them. But I threw this one together just real quick to make sure all my tolerances were good, and that was nice. This thing flew together really fast, so I was hoping to have this entire batch of blades done before the end of the year, but in all honesty, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. But I'll email everybody on the list here pretty shortly, let y'all know what's going on, and let you know when they're going to be available. But yeah, that's pretty nice. That's buttery smooth. And I switched over to surface grinding these flats to 400 grit, and then I run a dull belt, a 400 grit belt over the top of it to burnish it, and it's been making the bearing surfaces really buttery smooth. So that's been nice. I think I'm going to get a leather strop or a ultra fine Scotch-Brite belt and cut it into 1-inch strips and use it for the surface grinder, and just run it across the tops of everything before I finish it off, and that'll polish the bearing surfaces, because this little 1x30 works really well. Yeah, so that's about it for right now. Well, time to change tools. I'll get back with you. Alright, well, grinding. So I've actually discovered a new way to grind. It's by no means a new way to grind, but it is for me. I was just running into a dilemma. I'm grinding 65 folder blades. That's a lot of freaking folder blades. I don't care what anybody tells you. So that's like 130 bevels that I have to grind. They all have to match, and they all have to go in real precisely, and they all have to look good. I know you guys like your bevels. So I've been grinding, and let me show you. If y'all know my work, I take pride in my grinds. I always try to do a real good job with them. Here's what they come like off of the mill. I just rough them out about 80%. Just go with a Troidal cutter. As you can tell, it's not super clean or anything like that. It's just leaves the edge about 100 thou thick, 80 thou thick, or somewhere in there. Yeah, it's nothing. Definitely couldn't use this as a knife. The way it's set, so it has to be ground. So the way I used to do it was I would go through, I've got a little, basically a bar of steel that has a 1/4-inch hole in it. I just run a pivot through it, tighten it down so I've got something to grab onto, so I just kind of grab it like that. And then I go over and I grind it just like I would a fixed blade. Just go over, I go with 120, and then I take it up to 220, and then it gets its finish, whether sandblast, acid stone wash, whatever, belt finish. If I go belt finish, I take it up to 400, but for sandblast and acid stone wash, I just take it to 220. There's no reason to go any lighter than that. The finish itself is actually coarser than a 220 belt. So basic premise, like I said, got a bar on here, I just grind it by hand. I'm running into issues lately with my neck, having issues with my neck looking down, and if I look down for a long time, like if I'm in front of the manual mill, in front of the Bridgeport, or I'm grinding, or just doing any kind of op where I've constantly got my head down, I'm always looking like this, and when I'm grinding, and I end up having problems, my neck starts hurting real bad, and I can grind, I don't know, 4 or 5 bevels, and then I gotta call it quits for 20-30 minutes and take a break and then go back to it. And sufficient to say, with 65 blades, that would take me a freaking lifetime to grind them all. So I'm switching over to a fixture of sorts. This was actually a fixture, I think, from the Warhorse run. I don't know, that I did with Alpha Hunter Tactical. It was just sitting in the pile of old fixtures. Just so happens that it had a couple of precisely located 1/4-inch threaded holes. So what I did is I added 2 dowel pins that locate the top of the blade precisely every time. So it bolts in, locates here, and then I scribe my center line, and I scribe, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There you go. See that real faint line there? I just take my calipers and I run along the edge. It gives me a bevel height offset, or tells me where the bevel height is going to be. And then I actually run this on my work rest. Now, I know some of you guys don't like blade jigs, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what you call it. But I gotta say, it's a little harder than I thought it would be to just grind it. I figured it would just be something super simple. But let me go over to the mill and I'll show you. Let me go over to the grinder, not the mill. So I've got the work rest set up. Basically, I set this up at a, I don't know, 4 3/4, 5 degree angle. I don't know exactly what it was. I don't remember at this point. I think it was like 4 3/4. And I set this up, and then grinding edge up is so weird for me. I always grind edge down, but it's kind of neat. And then I can work this across the belt, and I can actually grind the tip into these. This is probably a bit more work than most jigs that I've seen people grind with, or hands-on work I should say, because I'm actually grinding the tip into these. But man, I gotta say, it's saved me a lot of time. I don't have to work as hard at it, so my neck doesn't hurt, which is awesome. That means I can make more knives for you guys. And two, I'm getting better belt life. Or I shouldn't say better belt life, I should say more use out of the belt. The way I was set up before, I would just grind the flats, just the main portion of the bevel. I wouldn't grind the tip. So I grind all the blades, and I'd get done with all of the blades on the flats, both sides, and then I would just take the belts that I had been using and grind the tips, because when you grind the tip, it actually creates, you can see it here, little wear spots on the belt from grinding the tip into them. So it removes more grit from these little lines than it does the rest of the belt. So if you grind a whole blade here, tip included on the bevel, it's difficult to grind the next blade because it wants to leave a wavy pattern in the flats. So before I was doing that, I'd just do all the flats and then I'd come back and grind the tips, and I was getting about 1 belt per knife on a 120 grit. 2 or 3 with a 220 because they last for a while, just because I don't have to do much with them. Right now, I'm getting 2 complete blades out of 1 belt. So I can grind the bevel and the tip, flip it, grind the bevel and the tip on 1 belt. I believe that's due to the fact that when I hold this on here and I work it back and forth, the weight of this block is allowing me more control of the bevel. So it allows me to do a better job lining up all the scratch pattern and keeping a nice, flat, straight bevel across the tip of this. So I've been pretty excited about using this. I think I've gotten 7 or 8 blades done today, and I've only been working on about an hour. Just fiddling around, setting my angles, getting them correct and all that, and just kind of playing around with it, trying to figure out if it's going to work properly. I gotta say, I may switch over to this. Freehand grinding is great. But in all honesty, I want to say that this is more accurate. And, you know, freehand grinding is one thing. And I think you need to start when you work, or when you start knife making, learn how to freehand grind on a multitude of different ways, just because it's good to learn repetitive muscle memory, stuff like that. But when you get into making lots of blades of the same kind of blades, and you can afford to do fixtures or jigs, whatever you call this, for an individual model, it works great. It's way more precise. It allows me to grind more of them without having to take a break in between. And I get better belt life out of it. So that's awesome. So say what you want about not, I guess, quote unquote, freehand grinding these. It's pretty great. I like it. From the standpoint of making knives, I'm going to say that it's more efficient and it's more accurate. So anybody has a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you, because I am in the business of making the best tool on the face of the earth, and I want to improve my process every single time I do it, so that's what I do. So let me give you a rundown. I'll set up the camera and you can watch me do it so that you can kind of see how it goes. It'll probably be kind of boring, but you'll see it here in a minute. Alright, well, hopefully this will work. It's kind of loud and kind of obnoxious and slow going, so we'll see. Let me turn the coolant on. This belt is already done 1 bevel, so it's a little wore out. It actually makes it easier because you got to go slower to grind. getting a little bit of chatter from the belt binding, but it's not terrible. And being as how I've got this mounted to a big old chunk of aluminum, it actually dissipates the heat out of the blade better, so I have less risk of ruining the temper on these blades because they're hardened already. But you can kind of see it's establishing the bevel. It's working the tip more because it's got to bring in more off the tip. Basically what I'm watching right now when I'm grinding is my scribe line. Let's see if I can, I doubt you'll be able to see it, but there's a scribe line in here. That's my center line. And then I'm watching the line that I showed you previously that you can just make out here that gives me my bevel height. Well, now I've got the bevel basically roughed in up to my bevel line, and now I just got to grind the tip. I'm going to work up that bevel just a little higher first. There we go. Nice flat bevel. Sometimes you got to work it a little bit because you'll get some waviness just from pushing against the belt unevenly. So let's do the tip. What I'm doing is pushing forward and then pulling, as you can kind of see. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know. There you go. When I slide it across the belt and turn at the same time, that gives me a little more even belt wear so that the belt lasts a little longer. And you can see it's starting to pull it towards the tip there. If I can get it to focus. There we go. Still the same. Now we got a done bevel. Let's take you over to the bench so you can get a better look at this. Alright, so I gotta dry her off and take it off here real quick. Move the jig out of the way. Get the water off of this. There. Now, got a nice clean bevel compared to this side. So, I gotta say, I really like this way to do it. Like I said, I think it's always good to start when you first starting out, learn how to freehand grind, whether you grind edge down, edge up on a 4x36 or a 6x48 or a 2x72 grinder. It all doesn't make a difference, honestly. I could grind a bevel with an angle grinder if I wanted to. You develop muscle memory over the years. It's really good to develop that. My thoughts on fixturing and jigs, being part machinist, I suppose, and Hoback knives engineer, this is a more efficient way to grind. It's a better way to grind in my opinion. Other people disagree with that. That's fine. Everybody's got them like armpits, but what it comes down to is that I can be more efficient and more accurate. Accuracy is key to folding knives. I try to maintain good accuracy when I do things. Now, in all honesty, your bevel accuracy, it doesn't matter in mechanical terms because the bevels don't interfere with anything, so it doesn't matter how accurate they are. But it matters in visually for collectors and stuff like that. And for me, I don't like uneven bevels. I really like my plunges to be even, my tips to be even and everything. My grind height to be even. That's all really important to me. So I can get this, I can do the same thing freehand as I'm doing with this fixture. It's just this fixture, jig, whatever you want to call it, allows me to do it more efficiently with less wear and tear on my body, which is awesome. So yeah, I kind of like this. So far, it's so good. I'm going to do this batch with this, I think, and I'll kind of give you guys a heads up on what I think about it when I'm done. Like I said, I know a lot of guys that are just starting out are fairly fresh to this, and you guys watch my videos, and I sure appreciate you, and I know you guys ask me a lot of questions in email and stuff, so I try to always answer them when I can. I'm going to tell you guys now, don't start with jigs. Learn how to freehand grind. It develops better skills. If I didn't know how to freehand grind, it would take me so much longer to grind with a jig because of not having the muscle memory to do it properly. It would be probably pretty slow. So this is a pretty cool way to do it, but start freehand. It's much more beneficial long term. So now all I got to do is, since I unbolted it, flip this bad boy over. I got to redo the Sharpie on this side. It kind of grinds it out when I grind it out, but I'll bolt it down on this side, scribe my lines again, and go grind this side, and it's done. So when it's all done, it looks like this. Nice even lines. Well, kind of helps when you have binocular vision in real life that you can see the bevels on both sides. Nice and even. Tip lines. All that stuff, that matters to me. So, turns out pretty good. I like it. Well, I'm going to get to grind, so it'll probably be a couple days till I can get back to you guys, because I got lots of blades to grind. So I'll get back with you when I do something new. Right now, I am kind of at a standstill with machining, because I'm running into RF interference with the mill, which is a total bummer because it's Christmas Eve right now, tonight, and Tormach's closed and they won't probably be back until the end of the week. And they have these little caps that go over some lines inside the control cabinet that block RF interference. I'm having problems with running a program and having the motors stall, and there's no mechanical reason that the motors are should be stalling. There's nothing preventing the axes from moving. I can jog the axis manually, up, down, left, right, forward, backward, anytime, no problems. I can do it while turning the spindle on. I can manually machine with this thing, but if I run a program, intermittently I get some kind of RF interference, and it's causing my axis to stall just right in the middle of the move. I got a tool from Tormach, which basically it's a tool, a utility that tells you when your USB drops, which is an indicator of RF interference. So I used that yesterday to determine that it's something inside the machine that's causing the RF interference, because I ran it and turned every single thing in the shop on and off, including the lights and the air compressor and the router and sanders and everything. Turned it off and on a bunch of times to see where I was getting interference, and nothing externally is causing it. So I'm trying to figure that out. I'm going to run through and put a dedicated ground on all these machines this weekend, hoping that that will cut down on some stuff, some issues. I have a ground through my electrical system, but I'm hoping that an additional ground will cut down on some signals. I'm not super familiar with RF interference. I don't even have an oscilloscope, so I don't have a clue where to even begin. So yeah, so the machine's down. It's like halfway done with the backside of this, or mostly done with the backside of this plate, but I'm afraid to run it because it'll stall out, lose steps, and then destroy scrap parts. I've had it happen a couple times now, and I just can't afford wasting all those parts. I don't have enough extra tie. So I'm going to grind and wait for my parts to come in. Alright guys, well, I may just go and upload this video just so you guys got something to watch on Christmas. Alright guys, well, hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Well wishes to all you and yours. And yeah, alright, God bless.